Welcome back. I've been eating a lot of really sweet things lately, really eating a lot lately. So I'm trying to be a little bit better the last few weeks. So I was out there looking around for a little bit healthier snack. And I will do almost any recipe. You just put it on my Facebook wall and I will give it a try. It's called a pin test. And when we find these cute things on Pinterest, but we're not sure if they're a good idea, I will be your guinea pig. So both of these are things that someone had either pinned to my wall on Facebook or showed me on Pinterest. So they're both vegetable ideas because, like I said, I am trying to pull it back in and really be very low cal and low fat lately. So the first one is a cucumber cupcake. Okay, so we're going to take a look here. Isn't that adorable? Veggie cupcakes. It's from the website creativekidsnack.com, and it's obviously really popular on Pinterest. So it looks like a cupcake, but it's not a cupcake. In fact, if you serve this to your kid, they're going to be really disappointed. But serve it to your girlfriends when they come over. They'll feel very grateful that it's an adorable little way to eat a veggie. So here's the deal. I use the directions provided by this website, creativekidsnacks.com. And what you want to do is you take a cucumber, like so. This is a cucumber, and you just need to peel the cucumber. So I did that. I did peel a cucumber earlier before the show started because it takes a while. Once you peel your cucumber, what you need to do is score it. Like to get this little cupcake ridge here, you just take a fork. Listen, I tried a little fork and it didn't really work. It was not deep enough. So get a fork that's got kind of wide tines. I don't know what those are called, but make sure that all the parts of the fork are wide so you can kind of go wide and deep along the outside of the cucumber. And that is how you kind of turn it into a cupcake, what is it, paper little cupcake thing. So then the next thing you want to do is cut this cucumber into basically sizes like this. Let me grab a knife and slice that up. A little bigger than I need, but what are you going to do? So you want these to be big enough slices that it can hold a little hummus. So make them kind of big like this. And it's a cucumber, so you can have a lot of cucumber without, ruining your diet. So what the directions say is to take a scooper and scoop out the middle of the cucumber. I actually wound up using a little bit of a paring knife because of the fact that this kind of destroys it. So if you take a knife and kind of hollow out the bottom, you're going to be better off. So you've got this little cup though. You can see that there. I've scooped out the middle. I've got the outside scored. And what we're going to put inside is what? Frosting? No, we're going to put inside some hummus. Now, how do you get hummus in there easily? I have a little, you know how we were talking last week, you have to improvise in the kitchen if you don't have the fancy tools. I have a mustard dispenser and I filled it with hummus. You could also, if you're a cake decorator, you could use one of your cake frosting things, whatever. I just use this. And you put the hummus inside, and there it is. What you want to do though on the top is another little garnish, and ta-da! So this is, I think, a pin win. Like I said, I found it on Pinterest. Someone put it on my wall and said, check this out on Pinterest, and I loved it. And here I did it for you right on TV, 100%. Real time, and it was just that easy. So I would give this a pin win. I would say don't serve it to your little kids because you'll have a mutiny. Serve it to your girlfriends and they will love it. Now another item that I have seen a million times on Pinterest and I wanted to see if it will work is this little jobby here. This is an egg inside of a pepper. You know you've seen this on Pinterest. Everybody pins this thing and I thought I want to try it. So here's my advice. I'm going to tell you right now it is a pin win, but when you pick these, make sure that your pepper doesn't have a point at the end. Make sure your pepper has like a clover looking bottom, right? See that? How did I do that? There we go. Anyways, these things are the very fine details you need to have the 4-point instead of just a point at the end. So you cut it off like this, and where did I put my knife? You're going to want to make a little holder for your egg, and that's what we did. And again, you want it to be thick enough to hold an egg. So all you do is you put it on the pan, and it takes about, I put a tiny little bit of butter on here on my pan on a medium heat. You can also use, spray if you don't want to use the butter, but I think a little butter is good for you. So I use a little bit of butter, and I put my big slice of pepper in the middle of the pan. From there, we're going to take, I don't know where my eggs went, Anyways, you're going to take an egg and you're going to crack it in the middle of the pepper. It's going to take about, I guess, 3 minutes for the egg also. But before I do the egg, I'm going to flip my pepper. All right, there's my eggs. I found them. All right, so do one side of the pepper and then crack the egg in the middle. There it is. Okay. So this takes another 3 or so minutes. Can you see that? I put a little bit of salt and pepper on the top. You can also put a little bit of cheese on the top, but I am trying to eat really light, so I didn't do the cheese. The egg is the egg and the egg white and everything is the amount of fat that I'm going to have on my little dish here. So this, it says it takes in the Pinterest instructions, it says it takes about, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes. But I found that this process is a lot longer. This egg to turn into something that you want to eat, to harden up, to firm up a little bit, is going to take more like 5 or 6 minutes. So what I did to also speed up the process and kind of get the white film on the top is covered it with a little foil. So that's the way I finished that. But after that minute, ta-da, I had pretty much what you saw in the Pinterest example. And it is a pin-win. Fell off my plate. But there it is. It's not so hard to do. If you want to make it into a 4-leaf clover, use a green pepper. Okay, the last thing I want to tell you about is some new products. You know me, I love Weight Watchers. And they recently asked me to try a few products, and I loved them, and I wanted to share them with you. They've got a whole new line of ice creams. I highly recommend them because they also have protein in them. They have kind of a yogurt base. They're all 100 calories or less, maybe 2 points plus or less, and they saved me from a really awful ice cream binge the other afternoon. So give it a try at the Weight Watchers site and ask for it at your grocer. That's it. We're out of time. Make sure to visit us on fullplate.tv and maybe I'll pin test something you suggest.